everybody, and welcome to The Rule Bender. I shall be your host, Ian Canfield. Usual disclaimer first of this channel is intended for an adult audience, so if you are a minor, parental guidance is advised. So, as promised, I am uploading this video for the new starters to tabletop role-playing games, newcomers to Dungeons and Dragons, and other franchises really, of where a good place to start is. So, little scenario, you're working away and a few of your workmates are talking about D&D and you want to get involved, but your friends outside of work haven't really played before, but it's something you want to touch on. Then this video is for you. Here I'll be discussing where you can find items, procure on certain sites. Now you can download lots of PDFs online. Me personally, I will always prefer a hard copy book. It's always a lot easier to have. However, that can be expensive. It is a lot cheaper to go online, and that's something we will talk about, of the cost. Now, I grew up quite poor, I'm not going to lie about it, and I've never really had a lot of money. Also, time restraints. I am a busy man. I have a full-time job, I am married, I have a family, and also I run 3 campaigns, all set in the same world, and it's a world that I built. And that's another thing I'll be touching on, of whether to go for the modules or whether to write your own adventures. A module is a one-day story that's already pre-written that your players will play through, and a game master, dungeon master, whatever you want to call it depending on the game, will dictate what happens in that world. But before I get started, there is one thing I would like to talk on, a good series of books that I'm reading at the moment called the Raystone Saga. It was written by a girl that went to the same school as me, and it's a fantastic story. I'm currently reading the second book. There is 3 books out at the moment, and it's a very nostalgic adventure. For those of you that are into your fantasy, it'll bring back memories of other franchises. And there's a brilliant part in the first book where trolls are riding dragons. I mean, what's not to love about that? But anyway, back to the topic at hand of where to start with Dungeons and Dragons. So there are a few different rule sets. I personally play 3.5. It is the rule set I prefer. That's the games I run. However, I do play in a campaign of 5th edition, and it's still a lot of fun. And 5th edition is great for new starters because they release things like this, starter sets. Now, this thing is the Stranger Things themed starter set, and for those of you that are a fan of Stranger Things, the characters played are the kids' characters. Okay, so the kids in the show have their characters and they talk about Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and it's their characters that they play. So you play as Dustin's Bard or as Will's Wizard. And it's a great little adventure. Like I said, it's a pre-written adventure. I've read it, however I haven't played it yet. I have read it all. Seems good fun. One of my friends runs a 5th edition campaign that I'm playing in currently, which is, it's very easy to grasp. The rule sets are quite simple, quite straightforward. As mostly with Dungeons & Dragons, all you need to play is a character sheet. This is a 3.5 character sheet, 5th edition character sheet. I'll open this box up and show you. So all you need is a character sheet and a set of dice, which isn't a huge expense because character sheets you can print off modules. If you ever get the person that's running the game, like a dungeon master, they will likely have the books necessary and everything they need to get started. Now, this is what a 5th edition character sheet looks like. So as you see, it's very different in the layout. However, it is the same principle of you get different stats, and when it comes to checks, you roll dice to determine the outcomes. This is the dice you are likely to have. D20, your most popular one. D4, D6, D8, and 2D10s, known as the percentage dice. And also a D12. So, as you can imagine, the D and the number is how many sides the dice have. Like I said, 5th edition is a great place to start. It has its own starter set written in the world, and another thing is modules, okay? I started playing from a module. That's my first experience with Dungeons & Dragons. My friend brought round this little book that was roughly around that size, which was a pre-written adventure of a bunch of adventurers exploring this tower, and an undead creature called a ghoul was the boss at the end, and a few skeletons and rats and your typical fantasy low-level creatures. It was great fun, and then from that I decided to be a dungeon master and run my own game, write my own adventures, write my own world for the players to explore. And it went really well, and I've been DMing ever since, and it's something I absolutely love doing. I definitely prefer DMing to playing, but that is my personal preference. If 3.5 is something you're interested in, the difference in the editions really is about the skills and the availability. 3.5 has the most books available, and there is a lot more skills to be had, whereas 5th edition condenses everything and streamlines it. It's like the difference between the beloved games Oblivion and Skyrim, if you've ever played them, from the Elder Scrolls franchise, where think of Oblivion as 3.5, where you have all your different skill sets and everything like that, but then Skyrim condensed everything and made it more streamlined. 5th edition does run smoothly when it comes to combat, however 3.5 is the one for role-playing. If role-playing is what you're all about, 3.5 is the rule set for you, but if you just want to get in and slay some monsters, then 5th edition is the path to go down. Useful things to look at. So 3.5, those books are harder to get nowadays. If you do visit a local comic book store, it may be something they can order you in. PDFs are available online to download. I found my books in a charity shop, which was the Player's Handbook, the Monsters Manual. Oh no, that's the Dungeon Master's Guide. And the Monster Manual. These were the 3 core rulebooks that I started with. I have a lot more 3.5 PDF books, probably about 30 to 40 books. Now that does seem a little overwhelming, but a lot of these books are just, they're more bullet points and guidelines. This channel is all about manipulating rules to suit them to your game and to your needs. Another few useful things I've picked up over the years is a few books. They're really quite cheap. You can get them for like £4 or £5 on Amazon. Is Table Fables. Now these little books here are written for dungeon masters as charts and tables to make things a little easier when it comes to world building, building your own world, such as character names, places and stuff. And another really cool thing I picked up, which was only a £5, which was an encounter journal. This helps a lot when running a game, because as you see, armor class, HP and other things, and this helps you keep track of how your players are doing, what their health is like, and pretty much the standards of playing a role-playing game. Another book I picked up over the years, because I'm a huge fan of the Cthulhu mythos. Absolutely love the game, absolutely love the lore, and I picked one up for Pathfinder. Now Pathfinder uses a very similar rule set to 3.5, and it's very easy to blend the games together. So, yes, Pathfinder Cthulhu Mythos book was a fantastic buy, because I love the franchise. So, another few things I would like to talk about. So, there was the starter sets. 5th edition also have something called the Essentials Kit, which gives you a few books, a Dungeon Master screen, a set of dice. These are usually involved in the starter sets as well, and they give you what you need to start playing. Really? Cost and expense, starter sets you can pick up for around a tenner. So that's not a huge expense, and then you have everything you need to play a game. But if you